History is full of colorful characters that are larger than life. We may stand in awe of the inspiring achievements of some figures, while others leave us shaking our heads, puzzled by their course taken. If every person is the captain of their own destiny, then one bold adventurer from the early 1900s, who charted a unique and at times bewildering course, was Baron Ungern. Ungern lived during a tumultuous time in the Eastern Hemisphere, and while most revolutionaries of the time wished to bring their people forward, Ungern desired to revert back to what he believed to be the halcyon days of the Middle Ages, when kings ruled the land, and bold men dared take what they wanted.
Roman von Ungern-Sternberg was born in Austria in 1885 to a noble family. 3 years after his birth, his family moved to a part of the Russian Empire which is in modern-day Estonia. At the age of 17, he enrolled in military school. Ungern was no stranger to violence and was known as the bully's bully. After dropping out of school to fight in the Russo-Japanese War, he re-enrolled, graduated as a cavalry officer, and was sent to Siberia. In Siberia, Ungern was exposed to the local peoples, particularly Mongolians, and his interest in Mongolian culture, military history, and more specifically, the empire of Genghis Khan began to dominate his motives. After the overthrow and execution of Tsar Nicholas, Ungern was sent to the south to fight the Turks. When Lenin and his communists took control of the government, Ungern fled east to join the pro-Tsarist forces, vowing to turn back the clock and reinstate the Romanovs. Unwilling to serve in the White Army in Siberia, Ungern created his own volunteer mounted division, which came to be known as the Savage Division for their brutal and undisciplined behavior. Ungern fought until learning that the heir apparent to the Romanov throne had been assassinated. With his plans for a return to a Tsarist Russia dashed, Ungern received a plea from the Buddhist leader of Chinese-occupied Mongolia to invade and liberate the people. Ungern's mission was to free the Mongolian people from the occupying Chinese and to reinstate a Buddhist monarchy. Ungern's troops adopted the fighting style of Genghis Khan, using brutal guerrilla warfare against the Chinese. Support for his cause grew, and many local people joined his ranks, as they came to view him as their liberator and the reincarnation of the Tibetan Buddhist Lord of War. To rally his men to capture the capital city Urga, he promised them 3 days of lawlessness if they were successful. The promise of a medieval-style purge energized his army, and the Savage Division captured the city in a single day. For 3 days and nights, the citizens of Urga endured looting, murder, rape, and other atrocities. After 3 bloody days, order was restored. Holding the position of military commander and dictator of Mongolia, Ungern now faced the Bolshevik army threatening to invade from the north, the Chinese Republic wanting to reclaim their lost territory, and a pro-Bolshevik revolutionary force growing within his own borders. The Red Army marched upon Urga and took the city. Ungern now waged a guerrilla war against the Bolsheviks, and after a failed incursion into Russia, he informed his men that their new road lay towards Tibet and the Dalai Lama. This pronouncement was followed by mutiny and a failed assassination attempt. Alone, the Baron was finally captured by Bolshevik forces. Ungern was put on trial on September 15, 1921 for anti-revolutionary acts, and after 6 hours of deliberation, was sentenced to death. Later that night, he faced the firing squad. Upon receiving news of the Baron's death, the Bogdi Khan asked all of Mongolia to pray for Ungern.
The Mad Baron, the Bloody Baron, Lord of War, and the Bully of Bullies are all nicknames given to a man who was a savior to some and a butcher to others. Traversing a time in history that saw the fall of monarchs, the horrors of modern warfare, and the rise of revolutionaries, Roman von Ungern-Sternberg was a man struggling with the chaos of the early 20th century and longed for a return to the days of yore. He was an eccentric, brutal, and vicious soldier, leader, and dictator. However, as Cervantes' character Don Quixote said, "When life itself seems lunatic, who knows where madness lies?"